Hey, it's Becky. Today we're dyeing shoes. I customized some Air Force Ones, Crocs, and airgans using a few different methods. Keep watching to learn dip dyeing, hydro dipping, and spray paint water marbling. This video is sponsored by Airgan, a limited release sneaker designed using machine learning. See, a while back, my friend Dan started making imagery of famous sneaker designs morphing into one another, forming a bunch of new mashup shoe designs along the way. He fed thousands of shoe images into his GAN, or Generative Adversarial Network, which could make new examples by referencing patterns it finds in the training data. Well, he and some other friends kickstarted the project and made a real shoe, the first one designed with AI. I think it's super cool that the sneakers take reference from a bunch of different styles and yet manages to be its own new thing altogether. Now they're dropping a new all-black colorway, and to celebrate, I'm customizing the color of a bunch of shoes using 3 different methods: the Stovetop Dip-Dye, hydro dipping with water marbled spray paint, and hydro dipping with purpose-built printed film. I'm also trying shoes made from different materials and doing something hardly any shoe customizers ever do: actually wear them and then show you what they look like afterward. Wait, but isn't there a controversy over AI-generated art? The Lensa app has recently soared in popularity, charging for its service of generating new portraits in styles created by artists who aren't credited or paid. I do think this shoe project is different in a couple important ways. First, the shoe designers used in the GAN are for sale by corporations, not individual artists. And those corporations presumably paid everybody who worked on the shoe design. And secondly, there is no copyright protection for fashion designs. So the culture is rife with remixes and everything is referencing something. So Lensa, not cool in its current business model. Airgans, very cool, in my opinion. Let's start with the stovetop dip-dyeing. It's necessary to do this on the stove because the dye must be very, very hot the whole time to work with synthetic materials like the soles of the shoes as well as the mesh fabric on the airgans. While heating up the water, I prepped the shoes by wiping them with acetone. This will remove any coating or other surface material, accidental or deliberate, that the shoes may have on them. The pot has to be stainless steel or enameled, big enough to fit both shoes, or at least half the shoes if you're doing a 2-color gradient. I tried using a clamp above the stove to hold the shoes in position, but it didn't really help and wasn't needed. The color saturation will depend on how long they stay in the dye and what material they're made from. See here the difference between these EVA foam Crocs and this cotton canvas tote bag, dyed in the same brown dye bath, and the Crocs even spent more time in there than the tote. To get the color gradient effect, I also used small mason jars filled with water as weights inside the shoes to help keep them in the right position, either toe or heel down. The dye should be stirred periodically, and the gradient shoes moved between colors until the desired color saturation is achieved. The suede on the airgans picked up the color super well, and I think it looks great contrasting with the mesh, which didn't pick up as much color. Depending on the shoe material, you can also dye them in the washing machine. Follow the dye manufacturer's instructions, which probably say to add the dye to the hottest water right before the agitation in the cycle starts. Another dye method I tried while working in the kitchen was marbling with shaving cream. I lined a baking tray with plastic wrap and then filled it with shaving cream and smoothed out the surface with a spatula. Then I sprinkled a few different colored dyes over the surface and dipped in the shoe. Then wrapped the plastic wrap up and around to make good contact with the sides of the shoe. Then I left them while I finished up the rest of my dip dye experiments. These are the pair I'm giving away, so watch till the end for details about how to win them. I followed the instructions on the dye package to use a fixative bath after the shoes came out of the dye, followed by a rinse until the water runs clear. You can find links to everything I used at the link in the description. I let these shoes dry outside. Then they're ready to wear. But with socks, you don't mind getting some dye on. I found that they did transfer a little bit of dye during the first couple of wears, so keep that in mind before you end up with dye on your skin or your favorite pair of socks. Once I got my hands on a pair of the new all-black airgans, which are now available at the link in the description, I tried bleaching a pair. I set up a bleach and water solution in a spray bottle to try to make some fun splatter patterns. But since the patterns weren't super cool or obvious, I proceeded to dunk the whole pair of shoes in a bleach water bath. The spraying might be better reserved for something like canvas skate shoes. Quite a lot of color lifted from the suede, but not anything else. I rinsed these out thoroughly and tried changing the color further with whatever leftover dye I had. I don't think it picked up much of that, but these still look cool and are up for grabs in the giveaway as well. Right, onto the hydrodipping. We did both the purpose-made film dipping and the spray paint water marbling with mostly the same supplies. A big tub large enough and deep enough to dip one shoe at a time, and the instructions for the film said to use warm water. Use a timer to dial in the timing for the film hydro dipping steps, which go pretty quickly. First, gently lay the film onto the water and quickly but carefully sweep any bubbles to the edges. Allow the film to sit, then spray on the activator. Wait again, then dip the shoe. You might want to practice before you dip your expensive sneakers. There is a sort of rocking motion you'll want to do as you contact the film. Then when you dunk all the way under the surface, give it a little wiggle to break up the surface at the edges and try to lift it up without picking up any of the leftovers. Even though the water gets a little mucky, you really only have to worry about removing the bits on the surface before you go again. The spray paint water marbling's a little more artsy and serendipitous than the pre-printed film. Tape and prime the shoes first, stick to a small group of coordinating colors, and alternate spraying with different colors of paint onto the surface of the water before dipping your shoes. After they were completely dry, I gave them a clear coat and then peeled off the tape. Overall, I'm really happy with the results and had a lot of fun experimenting with customizing all of these shoes. Now, here's where I'm going to do something these other shoe customizers don't have the heart to show you. How these finishes hold up after you actually wear them, if you choose to do so. If you'd like to win these customized airgans, be sure you're subscribed to my channel and submit your details to the form linked in the description. I'll remove the link after the giveaway has closed. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. I hope you'll subscribe with the bell to be notified of my future uploads, subscribe to my email newsletter, and find me on your favorite social media platform. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I'm wearing my RBG socks.
Oh, those are sick!
Yo!